To God be the glory. What's up, House of Hope Macon Church and all of House of Hope Macon Nation? It's your boy, Pastor J.C. Howard here. And listen, we have a phenomenal conversation in store today. We're about to really have a serious conversation around single folk. And so this is for all of our single folk. Please share this video with somebody that you might know is single, somebody that might be struggling rather with companion issues. I am proud to have with us this evening, or whenever you're streaming this, Minister Rovion Momo, one of our wonderful ministers here at the House of Hope Macon Church, and she formerly gave leadership to our singles ministry here, and also Minister Brian Collier. This is my main man right here. He is the director of logistics there at the House of Hope Atlanta Church. Shout out to our overseer, Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr. We love you, man. We thank God for you. Listen, y'all, we have a phenomenal conversation in store for y'all. Listen, we're talking about single, saved, and sitting at home. We know that we've been shelter in place. We've had stay-at-home orders for right around about a month and a half now, and so you know the people getting stir crazy, and particularly if you're single, you already are dealing with the fact that you might be lacking companionship, but also you have these added pressures with shelter in place, and so some people are really feeling a spirit of heaviness, and we just want to encourage you and motivate you on this evening. And so we're going to jump right into this conversation: single, saved, and sitting at home. We're going to start. We're talking about combating the spirit of loneliness, and I'm going to start with Minister Momo, asking prayerfully that you can answer this question, and we can jump right into the thick of this conversation. How does one manage the spirit of loneliness?
All right. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Pastor, for this opportunity, this platform to share my insight on this.
God be praised.
We are both spirit and we're flesh. So there's two sides that we have to pay attention to.
Sure.
On the natural side, what I would say is just keep busy. You want to keep your mind busy. You want to plan your weeks. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm exercising. Thursday, I'm hanging out with friends. Saturday, I'm preparing for the next week. You just want to make sure that you're busy and you're keeping your mind active. You also want to watch your eye gate, your ear gate. You want to be careful about what you're taking in. You want to be careful about what you're listening to, because that can get in your spirit and it can cause you to feel even more
That's
lonely.
good. That's good.
You also want to watch the people that you hang around. You want to hang around people that are striving to live the same type of life, which is a holy life. You want to hang around people who are trying to live the same way that you're trying to live, because that can influence you.
Sure.
But on the spiritual side, you just want to remember God's word. I mean, he says, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. That means he's always there with you. And then he says, pray without ceasing. So that means that I'm here with you and I want to have a conversation with you. So that will help. Now, he's not physically there, but it will help. So you just want to pay attention to the physical side as well as the spiritual side.
Very quickly, I want to respond to something that you said in your response, in that keeping busy piece, which is something that's absolutely vital, but particularly because you mentioned a few things, working out, friends, and so on and so forth, but particularly with the stay-at-home order, you have single folk that are by themselves, living by themselves. Then you have single folk who have children, you have single parents, and so they can, they keep busy with their children, but it's not the same as companionship, and it's also not the same as friendship. And so being as though we've been shelter in place, you can't really go to your friend's house and hang out, which is a supplement for, single folk. Usually if they don't have a date night or whatever have you, they chilling with their people or hanging out card night or whatever you're going to do, which is cool. But because you're lacking that, how can one who is home all day, they're working from home, they're taking care of their children, they're teaching their children, they got to play teacher, cook, and working. So how does that person, because they're going to be by themselves a lot and they can't really engage their friends other than over the phone, what are some of the things that they can probably do naturally? Because I think you were spot on spiritually, but naturally to kind of fill that void.
Well, that's why I was saying, as far as reach out to those people that are living the same type of lifestyle you're living.
Gotcha.
If you got single friends that are at home by themselves, you guys need to communicate. You guys need to hey, let's meet up at the track. I mean, we can stay 6 feet apart and walk together.
Zoom call.
Zoom call, whatever you need to do. But you need to find someone who is in the same situation as you. Trying to live the same type of lifestyle that you're living. And see exactly what they're doing. And you guys come together and see what you can do to encourage each other and support each other and strengthen each other.
Got you. What about you?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. This sitting at home, single, and say single and sitting at home. You know that sitting at home is a non-option. You know single is a non-option. It's that save part that you wrestle with, honestly.
I feel you. I hear you.
It's just the thing. It's just the thing. I'll be honest with you. Like for me during this time, it was already hard enough to be single and lonely.
Sure.
That's already a day-to-day hard, but you can, find stuff to do to get over it. But when you're stuck at home,
yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm a mind wanderer. So I could just be sitting there scrolling and 30 minutes later, I just slid into somebody's DM that I probably shouldn't have slid. I shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't have. Like I
we
said,
100 around here, y'all. We got to keep it 100. That's how we do it.
DMs. Somebody been in the DMs. But the point I'm making is like during this time, don't you laugh at me. Don't you? You knew what you was getting. But honestly though, like for being lonely in this time, for me, it's literally a moment by moment thing. Sometimes I'm strong, like I'm Herculean. I don't need anybody else. I'm not fighting that loneliness thing.
Sure.
But then there are some moments, I'll be honest with you, one of my triggers for loneliness is watching other couples on Instagram. Like when I'm scrolling and I'm watching y'all cook in the kitchen together.
Yeah, TikTok dancing together.
I almost cursed in the church.
Please
I'm
don't curse in this
not on
church.
this family broadcast. No, but like you get upset. And so like I've had to watch those kind of things because what you'll do in times of loneliness and idle times, you'll create idols. So you'll go and find somebody to fit that moment and wake up later, catch where I am, and realize, why did I even start talking to you to begin with? And I think during this time, this is when combating loneliness, I think it's more than just being able to fight it, but it's being able to control yourself. Put that phone down. Go eat something. And don't you say nothing about me eating. But go eat something. Find something else to do. Because let me tell you, I shout in my apartment, I pray in my apartment, but praise breaks only last so long.
Sure.
And that moment sits with you. Because you look around, ain't nobody there.
Yeah. I think that the meat of what we're trying to really get at here is that we're human. And it's a natural feeling to want. I think that it was a great philosopher that once said that at the very core of the human condition, you want to love and be loved. Right. At the very core, at the very center, you want to love and be loved. And so we being real here, y'all. We're just we're really being real. We're having a conversation around being single, around not saying that because we are saved, and so not saying that we're not striving to combat these feelings, but as a human being, you get lonely or you want companionship. And so, but I think a key thing here, and I've heard this being said before, is that there's a difference between being lonely and being alone.
Right.
There's a difference between being lonely and being alone. Being lonely is a condition that can really spiral you into making some very bad decisions.
There you go.
But being alone doesn't necessarily have to lead you to that kind of conclusion. Being alone, if I channel my energy correctly, right? If I find these things to do that you suggested, which means that, and I think you were kind of alluding to this, Bryant, that you have to create a particular kind of regimen for yourself.
Exactly.
If you're single, listen, I may have a military background.
I don't mind.
I know you have a military background.
Yes,
So take us through, if you don't mind, Minister Momo, take us through maybe a good regimen that we might be able to recommend for somebody to go through the daily day, because we can find yourselves. I tell people about getting lost in this social media stuff, and your mind can wander, and you go through somebody, and then, like you said, you done looked up, you done looked, and you slide, you done slid right in the DM, and then again, you come to yourself and you're like, what in the world did I do? Why did I make that mistake? And so maybe let's talk about that a little bit, Minister Momo. Maybe like a regimen people can try to kind of plan for themselves.
Right. Well, what I would say, the first thing you want to make sure is that you're taking care of your mind. You want to make sure that you're reading. You want to make sure that you're keeping yourself built up. You want to read the word. You want to make sure that you keep your mind busy. As far as your physical, you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You want to make sure you're exercising. Woo! You want to make sure that
praying for you, Brian.
Watch it.
Exercising. That's going to include also your eating habits. You want to prep your meals. You want to make sure you're prepared as far as eating healthy, because when you're by yourself, you're lonely. I can go in there and get chips. I can go in there and get cookies. Nobody will know. You know, I'm just enjoying my time. But you want to make sure that you're disciplined. So you want to make sure you're taking care of your mind. You want to take care of your body, and then you want to make sure you're taking care of your spirit, of course.
Sure.
So you want to make sure every day you're encompassing those three things.
Yeah.
That you're taking care of that in some way. I like to plan mine. So
Yeah.
I have certain days I do certain things, and then I make sure I have at least one day in the week where I do nothing. I just rest. But other than that, I'm making sure that I'm busy and I'm taking care of mind, body, and spirit. So you just want to make sure that you take care. But a lot of people like to be busy. You got to be trying to go get it. You got to be trying to do this. Nothing's wrong with that, but there's got to be balance.
Sure.
So keep busy, but make sure you're resting as well. So get your regimen and make sure you include that rest.
I think I just want to add this. I think you hit on something earlier, that there are some people who don't have this struggle. They are alone and fine.
Yeah.
They are good. But there are some people who are wired like differently. Like there was already, like I said, a struggle to be alone and lonely when you could go out and hang out and do brunch. And now when you're there, you have some people who struggle a little bit more with it. So even with the regimen, I love it. Something I do is virtual happy hour, like where you hang out with friends and you just
Zoom
Zoom calls
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
FaceTime family people. Because you when you have too much free time, feeling it is not just a part of it. You got to feel it with something that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Get that heart stuff in. So like I know that my brother and sister, they live about 10 minutes away from me. So sometimes I'm able to sneak over there and go and hang out with the niece and nephew.
Sure.
But I need something that's meaningful in the moment, because I think that's the difference between alone and loneliness.
Yeah.
It's where's your heart? What's the craving you're trying to feel?
Now, for me, it's kind of easy because, number one, I'm an only child. So I grew up alone.
Gotcha.
Then I'm single, and of course, got the military, so I have the discipline. So when this pandemic started, I noticed my phone started ringing more. And I was like, what's wrong? Why are people? They're not used to it. I'm used to it. So
struggling.
to me, I was like, whoa, you're invading my private. You know, this is my time. This is my person. But everybody doesn't adjust like that. So this is actually me learning about other singles and how they're dealing with it. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So
It's not. The bottom line is this: you really have to hold yourself accountable in this season.
Yeah.
Or you need to be connected to people, like you just said, who gonna hold you accountable.
Right.
Hold
Right.
you.
Listen, I'm talking about real people in your life. I'm talking about that inner circle. I'm talking
Yep.
about Peter, James,
Right.
and John. The people you can call and say, look, I'm struggling right now. I need you to pray for me or something. Read me a verse or something like that. And I think that Minister Momo, you were spot on in terms of mind, body, and spirit. We're like adamant about that here at the House of Hope Macon Church. That we want to be a holistic ministry
Right.
to meet the need of the mind, the body, and the spirit. That's why we do workout videos for our congregants, and we always talk about really educating yourself, because in this season, y'all, I've been preaching this for the last I don't know how many weeks. This is the time, if you're ever going to get after your purpose, if you're ever going to get after anything that you feel like God has called you to do, that business plan, that song that you want to write, that play you wanted to write, whatever it is, that book you wanted to start, whatever that is, you can channel that energy into purpose. I mean, if you're lonely, you have to be able to channel that energy into something. Working out is a great way to burn certain kinds of energy and to channel energy. But also really getting into your purpose, into your destiny. I know that you're working, 9 to 4, 9 to 5, or whatever it is, and I know you got to make sure the kids eat or whatever have you. But also, you need to carve out some time to take care of that which you feel like God has called you to do, your destiny. And also, when I do is another thing I would recommend is every morning, every single morning, every day, I wake up and I try to meditate for at least 10 to 15 minutes, and I really try to just I'm just talking about really just concentration on breathing. And you can look that stuff up on YouTube, man. You need to really kind of whatever you feed yourself is what's going to really kind of produce what's going to come out of you. And I'm just going to leave that right there. Brian, did you want to make one more comment?
That was good. No. That was good. That was good. What you feed yourself is what you produce.
It's what you're going to produce. And so, Minister Momo, you were spot on. You got to feed that spirit, yo. I mean, the flesh going to be there. Hello, somebody. Flesh gonna be flesh, and flesh gonna act like flesh. I wish I had a witness.
Somebody say amen in the comments. Just say amen
flesh
in
is
the
gonna
comments.
be flesh. Flesh is always gonna be there. We are flesh, but understand that's why you have to feed the spirit. That you have to feed the spirit, man, because you can't expect your spirit to conquer if all you're feeding is your flesh.
Can I add something real quick?
Go ahead, man.
it's something that I've been saying since this has started. I don't think we were prepared as saved singles specifically, but just altogether about how to be alone and what to do in this time.
Right.
We weren't ready about what to do and how to sit and to be still. Our calendars were filled, our schedules were filled. We didn't have the discipline we needed, and now that we weren't taught of what to do to sit by ourselves. And I think that as singles, there's a responsibility even in the church space that we not just talk about living holy, but talk about how to love yourself and how to get a hobby.
Yeah.
Like some people don't have a hobby. Now I have been baking a lot more cakes but that's my hobby. That's what I do. I don't eat them all. But that's been my hobby, you know?
Yeah, I hear you,
I've been
Reverend.
finding things. You said read books. There's some people that don't even have books. Like they don't even know you can download Kindle.
Right.
Yeah.
Download Kindle, get you a good book. But I think that helps towards finding something to do and moving energy to something.
Yes.
But you got to figure out what you like.
Yeah.
And I think we have gotten so consumed with social media
Yes.
and the grind that we don't have anything after the grind.
Yeah.
You don't have it. Dr. Cynthia Hale said you got 24 hours in a day. During this pandemic, split it in 3 parts. 8 hours is for sleep, 8 hours is for work. She said, you got to find something to do with them other 8 hours. And some of us can't spend 30 minutes with ourselves. Which is scary,
Yeah, it is.
you know? But you weren't doing it before.
Right.
So now you got to put in the work, especially as a single, because that's going to even help you when you find someone.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. You have to use this time intentionally to put things into practice.
Yeah.
The meditation, the reading, the whatever it is, working out, whatever. Listen, you told yourself in January that you was going to work out 3 days a week. And
Watch
you
yourself,
still,
preacher.
listen, all I'm saying
Watch
is this.
yourself. Watch yourself.
You said it in January. You had a, what is it called? A resolution in
It's
January.
2021.
And we are in April. All I'm saying is this, child of God. Listen, seriously, the Lord said, I'll be with you always, even to the end of the age. God is always with us.
Yeah.
God is always present. We understand that. It is our responsibility to intentionally engage the presence of God. That's one thing that we need to do. Also, remember that being alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely.
Right.
You need to learn how to love yourself. You need to learn how to cook a steak for yourself. Take yourself out to eat in your little kitchen when your kids go to bed. Also, make sure that you're channeling that energy into something positive, working out, getting after destiny, getting after purpose, doing some extra work, and not, like he's just said, like Brian just said, not spending so much time. Don't spend all your time on Netflix, binge watching all your shows, Ozark and Westland or whatever it is y'all watching out there, How to Get Away with Murder. You're on Hulu and Disney Plus all day long, or you're on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook all day long. It's not going to feed you.
Yeah.
You have to feed yourself that which is positive and that which is going to motivate you in the future, post-pandemic life. So let's go ahead and get back to, let's get to another question here, because this is where it's going to get good.
Oh, Lord.
This is where it's going to get good,
What you
y'all.
got?
Listen, is there anything wrong or quote-unquote unholy about shooting my shot unconventionally through social media or maybe another kind of forum like that? Is there anything wrong? You talked about sliding in the DMs earlier,
you want me
Brian.
to answer
I'm just
this?
saying, you brought it up.
Here's
you
the
brought it
thing.
up before I even asked the question.
I don't think there is nothing wrong or unholy with sliding through the DM and shooting your shot. By the way, Instagram at B. Collier Speaks. I think,
Selfless plug. Shameless plug.
Just slide in the DMs. I think the issue is what you do when you get in the DMs.
Okay.
What are you saying when you get in there?
Sure.
What are you leading towards? I think that, let me start first with sliding in the DMs and it being unconventional. You know, years ago, it was different. You may meet somebody at church. You may meet somebody to hook you up with family. Now you have dating apps. Now you don't have as much hookup culture where people are hooking people up and blind dates and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Dating isn't really happening the way it was
Right.
10 years ago.
Exactly.
Sure.
And so with a different world where you have access to people, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, all these other entities, not even mentioning dating sites like eHarmony and stuff.
Right.
Like when you have those, that's
BlackPeopleMeet.com.
Black people meet. Black people meet. I don't have a username. But I'm sorry. But that is conventional. That is the new norm.
Sure.
Now, the next part of that is how you slide. I am worth more than a cheap appetizer. So if you slide in my DMs, I'm fine with that, but I want something more than just a temporary moment. There's a person that I would like to know and that I would like you to get to know. And a lot of times I think that even in this conversation, if I'll just be clear, a lot of times when people are sliding in the DMs, it's for a quick moment.
Yeah.
They want something transactional out of you, and it's not something, I want to get to know you. And it's beyond what's your favorite color. But you will tell the type of person that's even sliding your DMs by the question they ask. If they're not asking, what do you believe in God? At some point in questions 1 through 10, you might be dealing with the wrong person.
Facts.
If 666 or something like that is in their screen name, you might want to back up. You
might
know,
wanna delete.
And so I don't think there's anything wrong. What do you?
No, I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Somebody sliding in your DM?
Praise
Oh,
God.
I'm sorry.
Praise
Okay,
God.
go back.
She said she be getting more calls. She said she be getting more calls. That's all I'm saying. She said she was getting more calls in this season.
Now that's from male and female. That's just friends
Gotcha.
that are
Okay.
lonely.
Feel you.
I got you.
But no, nothing's wrong with that. Number one, I'd first say nothing's wrong with it or unholy as long as you're single. And when I say single, I mean not married. As long as you're not married, there's nothing wrong with that. You also, just like he said, you want to watch your conversation. When somebody does that, when they do it to me, I'm watching every word that you're putting in that DM or in that text message. You just want to make sure that you are representing yourself, representing God because of who you are. You are single, saved, a Christian, so you want to make sure that your verbiage and what you're conveying is not offensive, not vulgar. You just want to keep it cute, keep it nice. But no, nothing is wrong with using the, black people meat.
Oh, you
Nothing.
just wanted me.
No, I'm sorry.
Like,
I mean,
just did.
I don't use those.
Oh, I see.
I'm not saying I wouldn't use it. I'm not saying I wouldn't use
I'm having fun
it.
right now, y'all. Y'all got
I'm not saying I wouldn't use it. I would use it. I just haven't used it.
All
I
right.
haven't.
We'll
I
get you
haven't
set
done
up
it yet.
after this.
No. Totally fine.
I agree. I totally
fine.
agree. Listen, this 2020, y'all. I mean, we're in the age, particularly with the rise of the millennial generation, they're digital natives, and so we just use phone text messages. As a matter of fact, most millennials prefer to text more than talk on the phone. Some people are just like that naturally. Not only, but also I think you were spot on, Brian, when you said that we're just in an era where that's normalized.
Yeah.
It's the new normal. But here's where I want to. How many texts are we going back and forth? I mean, if somebody slide a DM, how many exchanges are we going to have in the DM before you say, now wait a minute, I'm not just going to be the DM boo. I'm not just going to be the DM, entertain you on DM. If you want to get serious, you need to call me or whatever. If you might be interested.
I'm going to be transparent here. Be very transparent.
Cool.
So first let me say this. There are different times of day.
Sure.
To slide in the DM. Don't slide in the DM at 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's an agenda to that.
Slide into my DM at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
I'm glad you
a.m.
qualified that. I'm glad you qualified that.
There's
Be
an appropriate time.
appropriate.
Because I know me.
Be appropriate.
I know there are certain times that I cannot even entertain that. But the other side of that, and I'm gonna say this, and I hate to even admit this, but there are serial daters out there.
Yeah.
There are people that they might slide into
that's
15.
it.
Wait, don't you point
That's it. No.
They in a few DMs.
You may
more than a few.
You may slide in this 4 or 5 DMs, and you're having conversations, conversing, and you're getting to know people.
Right.
We live in a culture now that's non-monogamous, where people are dating multiple people, getting to know people. They're not looking for marriage. They're not looking for a long-term relationship. Now, everybody's not like that.
Sure.
But it's important to know when you slide in my DMs, before I get my feelings ready for a deposit, what are we engaged?
You need to let me know.
Let me know.
You need to let me know what's up.
Especially in this pandemic when I'm already lonely. Because if you get me to a point where we've been talking every day, all day, FaceTiming, texting for the last 2 weeks, and then you pop up and just go ghost on me, my feelings have been invested in this now.
Sure.
And so I need to know, what's your intentions? And that's
There it
not
is.
archaic.
What's your
See,
intentions?
I'm old school. I don't like the text and a lot of that. I want to talk to you. So you can slide in my DMs. We're gonna have a couple of interactions, but after about that 4th or 5th one, what is it that you want?
Make sure they say
That's right. But I'm gonna get to the.
Because if there is an interest there, you're going to say, hey, look, you need to call me and have a conversation.
Don't keep DMing and talk to me. What is it that you need? Don't waste my time. Right. There you go.
I feel you. That's what's up. So, in case you missed all of that, because there was a lot that was just said.
There's a lot.
It is not a negative thing. It's not unholy to contact somebody on social media. Social media is something that most people use anyway. And I know that there are still some old school cats that stay away from that stuff. But for the most part, many people are engaging on social media. You might find somebody on social media that you've never seen before. That you say, hey, look, so on and so forth. What's going on? And so there's nothing unholy about that. But have a standard. Make sure you know where everything is going, and make sure you respond at the appropriate hour. And I think you were right about that.
Reporting.
You're right. If somebody's sliding in their DM at 1 in the morning,
No,
there's certain thoughts on the mind.
Certain thoughts.
You feel me? And if I respond, wait.
You're not getting a response at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Facts.
No,
facts.
No.
You old school.
You old school.
I'm old school.
I'm yet holding up.
But no, seriously, even for single people, because I'm a night owl. I'm somebody who stays up.
Right.
I stay up very late. I stay up late. I work, whatever have you. And so I just operate like that. And I can stay up late and I can wake up early. But I do understand and I do feel you. 100% on what you said. That if there's a certain kind of conversation happening after a certain hour in the day, it's probably not God. It's probably
I'm at in my.
It's probably not God.
God ain't in
my
I ain't
rule
in
of thumb
that.
now
I ain't in that.
is if this message gets screenshotted, I'm okay with
That's
somebody.
another thing. That's
Somebody
right.
seeing it. That's
right.
my thing.
Wow.
So I don't send. I try not to send anything at any time of day, whether it's morning or night.
We are in a screenshot culture.
Let me tell you.
They will screenshot you,
tell you.
and they will share it.
Let me tell you. And some of y'all out there need to delete your screenshots. Let me just say that.
Be
now.
delivered from the screenshot ministry. Hello,
Let
somebody.
it go.
All right, yo. So this question right here piggybacks off of what we were just discussing. Should one entertain advances during this pandemic season? So we just talked about, is it okay to slide into the DM or whatever? But while we're in this pandemic, you're single, you're alone. There might be some times where you're a little vulnerable, whatever have you. Should you even entertain? Now, I've been talking about destiny and purpose. That's what it should be chiefly on your mind, getting closer to God and purpose. But
They want to slide.
if somebody slides, should I even entertain it during this pandemic season?
I'm gonna be honest. Actually, I think this is the perfect season.
Oh, wow.
Because it pulls you away from the physical. I'm not going to be around or touching them or trying to be in their presence. I'm listening, I'm talking, I'm getting to know that person. You can't come around me. So we're just talking, getting to know each other on that type of level. So
Now, when if he say I'm corona free?
And I just want to come by
I
the
got
house.
the paperwork. I just
No,
want to
no,
stop
no,
by
I got
corona
some
free.
lunch.
I said we're talking. We're getting to
so they ain't coming over.
Ain't no coming over.
Gotcha,
That's why I
gotcha.
say it's
Ain't no coming over
the
here.
no
now.
stopping
perfect
by.
time. It's perfect. Because it forces you
But
to be
it's
disciplined.
happening though.
Yeah.
It is happening though. And I think you're spot on, Minister Momo. You got we're gonna talk or whatever, but it's happening. There are folk that are sliding the DMs or they're trying to rekindle old flames. You know
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
spirit.
They're calling.
Yeah, that's
Listen,
the spirit.
I'm telling you.
Hold on,
Listen,
stay there.
Let's stay there.
Stay
Let's stay
there.
there. There are people that have not talked to you in years.
Which pastor?
Phone ringing.
And they calling
Ring.
you.
I'm like, what?
How you been? What you been up to? I was just thinking about you. You were in my spirit. It's happening out there.
Yeah,
and so how do you deal with that? How do you manage that? What should I entertain and what should I say, you know what, this isn't the season for that. I got to concentrate on something great.
So I think there's some innovative ways. I'm trying to get to where Minister Momo is. I'm trying to get there. But no, for real though. So like after talking to someone for so long, try virtual dating.
Yeah.
So like
That's interesting.
It's having a date on a Zoom call. So you
you
tell
go.
them to bring some food, you bring some food, get you
That is
some
a
wine,
great
they get
idea.
some wine, take a few shots, but it's still like you said, you're not there. Now, someone coming over, you better know you. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like I wouldn't say there's a right or a wrong in that, but allowing someone to come in your space and you know what you can handle. Some of us can't handle a hey without dropping our pants. And I'm just going to put that out
Help us,
there.
Holy Ghost.
And that's just real. That's how some
true.
are. There's some people that think they're stronger than they are, and they're not.
Mm.
So it's really just knowing you and knowing what you can take. And while you're saved and single and sitting in the house, sometimes you will lower your standard just to fill a temporary void. And you'll let them come in. Even when
That's
you
good,
say
man.
not letting people come back in, if their name is blocked in your phone or you got to unblock them to talk to them, they are not the ones. Let me tell you that God has somebody out there for you.
Hey.
Amen.
And they may not be in your face
Preach,
right
sir.
now, but I think a part of that also comes to realistic expectations.
Yeah.
There you go.
If they got 675,000 followers and you don't do your hair, you are probably not the one they looking for. I know me. I don't work out. I don't have the six-pack. So I have to be careful when I approach because I know. Now, I'm not saying that somebody may
That's
not
right.
want me in my, winter body.
Right.
But what I'm saying
Praise
is
God.
slide in the DMs at BCarter Speaks.
Lord help them, Jesus.
Pray for us. But what I'm saying is just have realistic expectations.
Sure,
I
sure.
think what happens in this season is that we'll start chasing after people and sliding into DMs that will leave us high and dry
Yeah.
because we didn't have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
honestly, in a very real sense, I think I agree with both of your premises, but I really feel like we know that trouble don't last always, and this thing is going to lift, and we're going to go back to. I think it's going to be a new normal, but I do think that we're going to go back to our usual schedules, whatever have you. I really feel like this is probably the perfect time to get you right, to get you together in a real sense. Now, I'm not saying don't entertain. I'm not saying don't, you know what I mean. But what I am saying is, I think you should be a priority to you right now. I think you should be your chief priority, making sure I'm right, making sure, am I ready to be a good boyfriend or a good wife or a good girlfriend or whatever have you, right? How am I ready for anything beyond just talking, right? But self-development, I really think that self-development is, this is the time to do it. And I'm not just speaking about reading about a couple of self-help books or whatever have you. I'm talking about really diving into purpose, man, and into destiny and like really getting after. I really believe that there are a lot of people out there who have put stuff on the shelf that have collected dust that God called you to do years ago, and this is the perfect time to pull it out, dust it off, and get after it. I'm not saying don't have some conversations. I'm not saying don't have you a virtual date. Do your thing, boo. Do your thing. But what I am saying is you should be your chief priority right now. I really feel like that. You want to add to that?
Absolutely. I was going to say, just make sure, another good practice to have, if you're male, you need a good female friend. Not a female friend that's attracted to you, someone who will be honest with you. If you're a female, you need a good male friend, not attracted to you, that will be honest with you. So what you can do during this time is actually go to your friends and conversate with, hey, this is what I want. What do you see in me that I need to, what do you see? Not that I'm going to take everything that you see and do everything you say, but I need somebody to tell me the truth, to show me so I can improve myself. I truly believe you always need a best friend of the opposite sex that will be honest with you, that can help you build yourself and get you to where you need to be.
And to add some depth to your life. Add some depth. Some of us don't know how to converse, have conversations outside of food and sex. That's the only two things we know how to talk about. So question 4, I'm sliding in trying to come over to the house because that's all I have to talk about. You haven't read a book, you ain't watched a movie, you don't know
you don't know my middle name, Doc.
You don't know nothing.
You don't know me.
Getting some depth, and I think it's really, I love what you said. I think there's a demographic of people out there that have been single for a long time, and they worked on the degrees, they got the career, they're where they want to be. And I think that group of people, I think that it's a good place for them to now explore and date and get out of that cave they've been in. But what you said was correct. There's a large demographic of people. They need to go and dig and search and shove themselves in a closet with just them and God and figure out, what am I here for? And here's the thing. Once I know what I'm here for, I then know what I'm looking for.
There you
Right.
And then when I know what I'm looking for, I know what I'm going to accept and not accept.
You just said something, man. You just said something. I think most people, particularly, I think a lot of single people, I won't say most, but a lot of single people don't even know what they want. They know the exterior what they want. They want somebody superficial. They want somebody fine, right? They want somebody fine. They want somebody got swag or whatever have you, so on and so forth, can dress. But what do you really want in somebody? Have you taken the time to actually sit down and write down the attributes that you want in a wife or the attributes that you want in a husband. And I'm talking past the physical. I'm talking about, we know you want somebody that's fine or somebody that you're attracted to. You need that in your situation. But have you explored any other attributes have you written it down? Have you prayed over that? I'm big on praying circles around things. Have you prayed circles around what you want to see in a wife or what you want to see in a husband? Have you prayed circles around you being a better individual, a better partner to somebody else, right? And so I think you're spot on with that, man. I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah.
Man, okay, we about to wrap this thing up, y'all. But I got a couple more questions that we got to get into. Now, listen, man. Instead of being so, I think we talked about this in our first. We talked about this in our opening dialogue, because there are a lot of people who are what's quote unquote thirsty. They want companionship so bad that they might lower their standards, like you alluded to earlier. And so instead of being so thirsty or so hell bent on finding somebody, how can I channel that energy? How can I channel that energy? And not only that, let's get raw. Let's go ahead and let's just take it all the way let's take it to the mountain with it. All right. How can I channel sexual energy? Okay, because we all have. Listen, I told you about the flesh, y'all. Okay, we talked about the flesh. The flesh is real, all right. And if you are a human being on this earth, you have proclivities. Amen, somebody. You feel different things, all right? So how do I channel that energy? Instead of engaging it, hello, somebody, how do I channel that energy? Now, like I said earlier, working out is a great way, for me, you know what I'm saying? For me to kind of blow some steam and just kind of, you know what I mean, do my thing or whatever. I like to meditate or whatever. What are some other ways that you channel energy instead of entertaining, hello, somebody, the energy?
Stay distracted. You gotta stay busy.
Stay busy. Stay busy.
I'm distracted. I got something to do.
Help us, Holy Ghost. I'm enjoying myself, y'all. This is a good conversation.
It's hard.
Stay distracted, huh?
Stay distracted. Stay busy. I'm
Have something
sorry,
to do.
I can't say that enough. Exercise. I know you're tired of hearing it, but exercise is. I put it. It's number one on my list.
Chief.
Yes.
Yeah.
You feel that pressure. You feel that stress. You need to get out there and exercise.
Yeah.
You need to move around. You need to exercise, release all that energy
burn off
you
some
have.
energy, yeah.
Go take your shower, eat, go to bed. You gotta make sure you have to find what works for you. Now, exercise won't work for everybody. Some people can't exercise. People with certain issues or whatever. But you gotta find something that you like to do. Find something that removes you from that mindset of I want to be with somebody. You just have to stay distracted. Make sure you're busy. If you're single, you got to stay busy. That's it.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
Find something to do.
You got to find
You said
something
it earlier. You
that
find
you
a
like
hobby,
to do.
somebody. Play chess or something. I don't know what you're doing.
Companionship is not an answer to loneliness. And I think that find is that there are people who go and try to fix loneliness with just somebody. And I think that when you're dealing with even those sexual frustrations at night or during the day, whatever you get them, because you get them all during the day. I think honestly, it's you can I bake. You can bake all the cakes you want, but sometimes it's just not gonna leave. And I think what it really becomes, the answer is knowing what your price is. And I'm not talking about selling your body, and that's not what I mean. Value. How does someone get access to you? What's your cost? What's your worth? If you don't have the worth and the access, and your access is easy, you haven't done the soul work.
That's right.
Of figuring out. If you were an entrepreneur you had
man.
a product,
that's really
you
good.
would not give it away for free.
That's right.
You would at least charge someone what it costs you to make it.
Right.
But you're going to want to profit off of what you got. If my heart, my body, let's not even do heart, my body, there's a price I've paid for it. And the peace I have to keep it when you leave.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
What is my standard? And I think if we do that part, that'll filter out some of these rendezvous we get caught up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That'll X out some of these things. Here's the thing.
That's good,
A lot of us, y'all out there, we can look back at some mistakes we made with some people, some bodies we got on our list, and we can say, you know what? if I had just thought about that a little bit longer, if the Lord had let me miss that last text message,
you, Lord.
I would have been fine. But because we didn't have, and here's the thing, desperation will make you give up something. It was Jacob and Esau. You give up your birthright.
Right.
Because you were
Because hungry, Doc. He was that hungry. Gave up his birthright.
Because you were hungry.
Didn't realize the value, Doc.
Until after
Yeah.
your stomach was full. And so for some of us, we are filling our flesh, but we're more empty after we filled it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's taking something. So it's the standard. I wish I could tell you
That's
I had the recipe to say, go take the cold shower, run around, call on Jesus 15 times. I'm Pentecostal. They didn't teach me how to handle the flesh. We didn't have that conversation.
They just said, don't entertain it.
Yeah.
Because most of them were having sex with each other after they finished preaching it. I know I'm telling the truth.
Lord
Glory
Jesus,
to your
we're
name.
going to put a muzzle on that right there.
But
listen, it's the truth, though.
But it's the truth. And so now that you're a pastor that's helping us get to that point, you got to dig in. Find what your value is.
You got to be real
Find
with
what
it,
your
man.
work
You
is.
got to be real with it. That is, you are spot on with that, man.
Yeah.
You just really ministered, Doc. What is your value? Like, you need to know your worth, child of God. You need to know your worth. You don't just let anybody have access to you like that. You gotta listen. There's a fee, baby.
You don't eat everybody potato salad.
You got to come with it. You got to listen.
But you letting everybody come to your house.
You feel me? Listen, you have to have a particular kind of value of you.
That's good, Pastor.
A particular kind of value of you. You need to know your self-worth and understand that everybody can't, and I don't give discounts. You got to pay full price. All right, listen, last question. We got to go, yo. We having a good time. We're hoping that you're enjoying this. If you're enjoying this, comment in the comment section right now. Please let us know that you're following us. Listen, this is the last question. Okay. How do I know as a single individual that I'm truly ready for a relationship? How do I know that? How do I know that I'm ready for a relationship? How do I know?
I think
How do I know it's time?
I think you know that when you're not really concerned about it. When you're so caught up in who you are in your life and what you've got going on, that's not your focus. Whether I get married or not, doesn't matter. I know my purpose, I'm happy with my life, and I'm moving forward. Another thing I'd say, you're ready when you can take care of yourself. So, because a lot of people, I think they want to mate. Well, some people say they want to mate. I believe they want to checkmate. Most people just need help. So if you're that type of person that just needs help, you need to work on yourself, make sure you can take care of yourself. Once you can take care of yourself and you're whole and you're complete, then you may be ready for a mate or to be married or something like that. But if you're constantly thinking about it and you just want it so bad, you're not ready for it. Because when you get it, you're going to mess it up. You're not prepared for it.
I like that.
Can I come back that
You
a
can,
little bit?
you
Just
can.
a little bit. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, or just, being on your grind in the money way or success career way, we never fault people for the hours they spend up at night, the investment they put into it. Like, we say, oh yeah, that's great. But when it comes to the heart, it's, if it just happens, it happens. And I think for a person like me, I want love. I want companionship. I want to be married one day. But I do agree with the other side. I think you're ready for a relationship when you can bring to the table what you're expecting.
Facts.
Right. Exactly.
And I think a lot of people have expectations, and they can't bring to the table what you want. Somebody with perfect credit, and your credit score is 478, and not the area code. Yeah. That's where you're at. The other part is baggage. Are you in a mental, emotional place to try something with someone and not have a shovel in the back seat ready to go dig up something that's happened in the past? A lot of us need a therapist to work through some breakups we had, some traumas we saw growing up with relationships. Because my sister Ashley said this. She said, we have romanticized relationships. So in our minds, we think, if I get in a relationship, it's going to be lovey-dovey all the time.
We're going to be taking our Instagram
it's gonna
pictures.
Be great. When we don't realize that Instagram is 1 second in time. They might have had a knockout, drag out right before that picture.
Facts.
And they still may not be, or right afterwards, but they're doing that so they can get your like to add to the 250,000.
Public persona.
Right. And so when you have realistic expectations about a relationship, like you said,
Right.
what do I want them to like? What do I really need? And it's different for the person, but it's back to what you said, Pastor. You got to know you.
Facts.
If you don't know you, you're not ready for a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I can't put something out there that I'm selling and I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I got a chair for sale. Well, what color is the chair?
Right.
Does it have all 4 legs? Is it high or short? You know, you got to know. And for most of us, the most we can tell people about ourselves is that we're a foodie and we love to travel. But what else is there about you?
I think another thing that will keep us from, and I hate to sound negative, keep us from feeling that desperation, we have to be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to be married. You have to
Ooh.
be okay
true.
and understand that.
It is true.
If you can know that and understand that and be okay with that, then as far as you being in a relationship with someone else, you're pretty solid. You're not too desperate. You're not, doing things that because you understand, hey, I pray that God will bring me someone,
Sure.
hey, but it may not. What do we have? 3 men to 1 woman? Is that the ratio? Something like that. You have
3
to.
women to 1 man.
3 women,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Oh, I wish you was.
Yeah, it's more sisters. It's more sisters. Sorry, Momo.
I'm just
Sorry.
saying, you got to.
Sorry, Mama.
Glory
You
to the
got
high
to
name
just-
of Jesus.
Be honest with yourself.
Crazy.
Can I ask a question really quickly? I don't want to be off too much, but what do you say to the person who wants to be married and has a hard time dealing with that reality that they may not be married?
What do I say to
Because
them?
they're out there. We're out there. We're hoping
Yeah.
for companionship.
Yeah. What I would say is understand the truth. That is the truth. But you have to focus on you. When God brought you in this world, he didn't bring, nothing's wrong with being married. He said it is good that you have your own wife. He said that. But when you came in this world, you came by yourself. And your purpose
You
here
gonna leave
is
by
not
yourself,
to,
too.
right. And he didn't create
When you
you.
get to heaven, you ain't going to be married
No.
there either.
You
ain't
Jesus
gonna be-
said that clearly.
But he didn't create
Yeah.
you to be married. That is not your main purpose. I think that's all we focus on when we're
Yeah,
single.
I agree with that.
We
That's good.
focus too much
I
on that.
appreciate
But
That-
it's a,
that
and
is
it's,
not
and
your
it's a real
purpose.
thing, you
Yeah,
know?
but
Right.
it is okay to want companionship.
Yeah.
It is totally okay to want to be
Yeah.
married, and it can certainly happen. You don't know how this thing is going to play out, but I totally agree with Brian in that you have to, first of all, a couple of things. I like the analogy that you have to bring to the table what you want somebody to bring to the table. You have to bring. You got to be 100 with yourself, is what I'm saying. Because relationships, we've got this idea that relationships are 50-50,
Yeah.
and that's not a reality. Relationships are 100-100.
That's
I'm
right.
bringing 100%
That's right.
of who I
That's
am,
right.
and
That's
if I have children or whatever else, I'm bringing that, and you're bringing 100% of who you are. You need to be healed, child of God.
Ah.
You have to be healed from some of these past hurts, some of these past, and sometimes it's not always relational. It's some family issues that you haven't worked through and you're not healed from, and that you can perpetuate onto your partner. It's some other kind of traumatizing situations that you may have gone through in your life that you tried to bury, that thing back in 86 and 96 and 2001, but it's inevitably going to resurrect. And that's what happens, what you said, Brian, that I think you were spot on, because what we do is, as soon as it's triggered, I go and throw, I throw all the weight into
All
it,
of
and
it.
it all goes onto your partner. Now you wonder why you weren't the one for me in the first place. Nah, maybe you weren't right. You weren't healed. And so you need to be healed. Bottom line, you need to be healed from some of these past situations, these relationships. You need to know that you're over it,
Right.
okay? Because if you're not over it and if you're not healed, it's inevitably going to resurrect in your current relationship or in whatever relationship that you want to be in. And not only that, I think that you touched on something and it sparked my interest because we need to have realistic expectations. We need to have realistic expectations. I know we talked about write your list out and so on and so forth, but what if you have 7 things on that list and somebody meets 5 of them? Are you just going to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do they have to meet all 7? Do they have to meet all 10? You need to have realistic expectations, which means there's probably a small chance that somebody's going to meet all 10. But if it's 8 out of 10, that's a pretty good percentage right there. That's 80%. That's strong
Here's
right
the
there.
thing, the thing you thought you cared about the most in your list of 10 may not even be something you actually care about or like. You saw it in somebody else.
You
said,
said,
I think I like
Yeah.
that.
Talk, man.
You don't even use
Talk.
that attachment, but you just thought you wanted
You
it.
saw it in somebody else's persona, public persona, and
You-
didn't even realize that's not even the real them. They took 20 pictures before they posted one. Do you understand this? People show you what they want you to see. Okay, in the social media age, people show you what they want you to see. That's why you need to see the real them. Hey, bro, you need to understand. She's not always gonna have that Mac face and that beat face and everything. And the red bottoms on every day. She don't wear that makeup every day, bro. Hey, sis, he don't always have it. We in the pandemic. He don't always have the clean shape up. He don't always. Sometimes he goes weeks without working out. He look good and come on, suck it in.
For the camera. Stick it out.
I'm enjoying myself.
I'm winter
Seriously,
ready.
we need to have
ready.
realistic expectations. We need to be real. We need to be honest and say, hey, listen, they didn't get all 10, but they did 7 out of 10. I like that. You know what I mean? This is a good person. And we have to be willing, but that takes a particular level of healing in your own self, a particular level of trust in your own self, and a particular understanding that I am not always going to get the perfect rendition of what I'm expecting.
Perfect doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
I'm not perfect,
and
I can't expect someone to be perfect.
Amen.
Because they're not God, nor are they a superhero.
Yeah. That's
right.
Nor are they your father or your mother.
Right.
They are who they are. One of the shows I love watching.
They should be who they are.
And should be who they are.
Yes.
I love watching HGTV. I love the Home Hunter shows.
Yeah, I feel you.
But what I've learned about those shows is that what we see is sometimes a staged home. That furniture don't live there. And there are some people in our lives, they have a staged home. So you see you see them in a picture with reading a book, but they ain't even read the book.
They capping, y'all.
They took a picture of them reading their Bible, but it's been in the back seat of their car, and they just happened to find it and thought it'd be great for a picture. Like, you need to know who the person is, but the same part of that is you need to know who you are.
That's
Are
right.
you advertising something to other people that really doesn't exist?
That's good.
Don't say you love going to church and worshiping God, and you get here 30 minutes late and be the first one out the door. You can't say that.
Talk, man. Talk. And you only hear first and third.
First,
I can't deal with y'all. We gotta go. We gotta go.
You said that.
We gotta go, Saints. Listen, Momo, if you could take 60 seconds, and Brian, you take 60 seconds to just give an encouraging word to singles out there, to give an encouraging word to single sisters or brothers, whoever, just single individuals, and so we can leave them with an encouraging word.
I just say, if you are single, don't focus on the fact that you're single. Focus on you. Focus on who you are, what you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Make sure that you're good, because you don't want to get in a relationship with someone you don't know yourself. You want to make sure that you understand who you are. You want to know who they are. You want to make sure that who you're with is the perfect person for you. But if you're not focused on who you are, you don't know who you are, you don't know who you need to be with, you don't understand it. Another thing is, make sure you have a good relationship with God.
Amen.
That's important, because like Pastor said, you could have 10 things on that list and you miss your blessing because they didn't meet those 10. And God's sending this man to you like, he don't have this, that, but God's sending this man to you. God didn't tell you that's what that man, your husband had to have. That's just what you think you have to. So make sure you have a good relationship with God. Focus on yourself and your relationship with God. All the rest will come.
Amen.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added.
Amen. Not perfect, but perfect for you. I like
That's
that.
right.
That's good. Go ahead, B.
Pastor, when Nipsey Hussle died, you preached a sermon and you talked about how we don't take time to lament.
Yeah.
And I think if I have anything to say to the singles out there, it would be take some time to lament if your heart is broken. Grieve through that process and live on. But on the other side of it, some of us need to learn the principle of letting things go. Amen. If they ghosted you and stopped talking to you, don't hunt them down like a stalker. Learn, and it's something I had to learn. Let it go.
That's right.
When the Lord sends you who they send you, it will chase you down.
Woo.
And you will want to be chased. Actually, you won't even chase it. Run into me. Amen. But you don't have to worry about, you should never be in any situation where you don't feel welcomed and loved.
That's right.
To the extent you deserve.
Amen.
And as singles, never lower your standard.
Don't lower your standard.
Don't lower. If Christ loves you and died for you and will chase after you, you don't need to chase after anybody else.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
Child of God, this has been a robust conversation. We're going to have to do a part 2 to this thing. This thing was off the chain. Listen, know your value And watch out for them DMs.
Be Collier speaks.
Listen, if you want to connect with us, if you want to be a part of House of Hope Making Nation, just type HOHMN to 31996. HOHMN to 31996. We're going to send some information to you. We hope that you love this conversation. This is a valuable conversation. Shout out to all my single folk out there. Listen, God is with you. You are never alone.
Yes.
The Lord God bless you and keep you is our prayer. Minister Rovian Momo, thank you. Minister Brian Collier, I appreciate you.
Bless
It's your
you.
boy, Pastor J.C. Howard here. We'll holla at you soon. Peace.